Hello, this is Tom Cloud. Kind of a special report on what's going on in the gold and silver market. There's so much misconception and misinformation. Let's start with this. The stock market's run up 300 points in 2 or 3 days and is now up 5.9% for the year. Gold has dropped and it's still up 8.1% for the year, and silver's dropped and it's up 8.9% for the year. And yet you would think that the stock market was going through the roof and the precious metals market had absolutely collapsed. So what you have to realize is when a stock market is trading at 29 times earnings, when the historical norm is 15, one of two things is going to happen. One is the negative we don't need to talk about, but the positive. So let's say that Trump this week starts and gets corporate. Well, first of all, they got to get the budget in place. They got to raise the debt ceiling, create more money out of thin air, $1 or $2 trillion, and then you're going to come in and say, give us a tax cut in corporate taxes from 35% to 20%, or possibly 15%, and then bring down the tax rate for the individual. Now, certainly, if that happens in a quick notice, that does give the stock market fuel, and that's good. That's good, and you should have money in the stock market. But with Trump being out of town this Friday, when they start the debate on the budget and the debt ceiling, it just makes no sense whatsoever. It's like they're going to just put a rubber stamp on it and create higher inflation, higher velocity of money, and basically finally let the dollar start down and settle at some value. Now, while we're on the dollar, remember, in my world, every time the dollar goes down 1%, gold goes up 11% historically. So if you look at that right now and the dollar's having trouble, then certainly if I believe the dollar's going to drop 3 or 4% this year, I think gold's going up 33 to 40% this year. And I do believe that. I believe that with all my heart. And I don't think the stock market will go up that much. I do think it'll go up and certainly have a good year. But the point is, you don't have either or, you have some of both. My position is you've got to have a hedge against world uncertainty and something that's instant liquid in the world. A stock is a piece of paper. You can't take that piece of paper in the world and get a penny for it, not one penny, because you don't have your own stock certificates. Your brokers and money managers no longer give them to you. So what you have is an electronic entry on a statement that you receive, and that's your asset. Where in gold, you can take delivery of it, or we have the cheapest storage programs in the world. We can have it stored in Delaware, Toronto, Canada, Singapore, Cayman Islands, or Wellington, New Zealand. And we're happy to discuss those options with you. And once again, we have the lowest storage rates of anybody in the world. And if you don't believe us, just call and we'll go over what these rates are, depending on where you want to store them. We'll also send them free to all those locations except New Zealand. You'd have to pay the shipping to get it there. So anyway, keep your eyes open, because once again, you're being led to believe that metals are doing terrible. Now, I will confirm this to you. Look at the first quarter. Everywhere in the world, especially Asia, demand has exploded. Central banks, as well as individuals, want gold and silver and not paper money. We saw about a 30% drop in volume for the first quarter this year from last year, and the price of gold went up over 10%, and the price of silver went up over 10%. What happens in those situations is people say, oh, gold has finally gone up 10%, so I'm going to sell it and cash out and put it somewhere else. When it's the exact opposite, they should be buying more. So what will happen in the second quarter, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you that I do know. But I can tell you that, once again, whatever you have in stocks, you should have 10 to 30% of that in gold, worst case scenario. So if you have 100,000 invested in gold in stocks, you used to have 10 to 30,000 invested in precious metals. And certainly gold is the tortoise in the race. It doesn't have the volatility that silver has, but silver does have a bigger percentage up potential based on that. Because if you're betting on stock market going up, you're betting on gold going up, because we're going to see the dollar go down where our goods become more affordable in the world market. So you just got to watch this and watch it very carefully. The SWIFT update we'll have for you hopefully next time we see that the new SWIFT system that all the transactions in the world will go through is being set up for yuan. So then there's a competitive. You'll have one that has been here since the 1950s and a new one, and you can choose to go through the dollar or the yuan, which we think will lead to a big move of money out of the US dollar, and once again causing precious metals to go up substantially, because we've cornered the market on that SWIFT system for years, but now it's going to be divided. And watch the bond market in the US. It will deteriorate as interest rates go up and the dollar goes down, and the Fed will no longer be able to monetize the debt, and the Treasury and the Fed, two different entities completely, one a government entity, one a private entity, are going to collide over who is going to supply the liquidity for these bonds. But hopefully you're not going to be around. You're getting out of the bond market and repositioning your assets. So we'd love to talk to you. You can reach us at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812. And we can also help you with the self-directed precious metals IRA. And remember, we're only marking up our products 2.5% for gold and 3% for silver over our cost. We pay all the shipping and insurance. We also will sell it for you when you're ready to sell it for no charge whatsoever. No one's going to give you this deal. And we've been in business 41 years with not one lawsuit filed against us in the precious metals realm. So hopefully we'll get to talk to you soon. With this week's precious metals market update for SRS Rocco, this is Tom Cloud signing out.